Hello. So I am going to explain the top-down method. So the top-down method is traditionally how they like them in Scandinavia, and the benefit of the top-down method is that you don't have to keep opening the door to put bits of wood on it to get it going. As you can see here, we start with a couple of decent-sized logs underneath, two smaller pieces of wood on top, and then the kindling and then the firelighters. So I often call it a triangle. Small at the top, big at the bottom. And the idea is that when you light the fire, you put your firelighters right at the top here, and then as they get going and get burning, they warm up the flue. They get some heat into the flue, and then the fire burns down into the bottom of the tower. So we light the firelighters, we close the door, we leave the door slightly ajar, and we make sure that this particular model, which is a clock, has two controls. So the one on the right here is called the primary, the one on the left is called the secondary. The primary control is a little bit like a choke on an old car, whereas you open that up to get the fire going. This sends air up through the grate into the bottom of the fire. The one on the left is called the secondary control, or the air wash control. That sends air through the back of the stove and in past the glass, which keeps the glass clean. So the key thing is both controls fully open, which is clockwise, to get the fire going initially. Once the stove is hot and it's up to temperature and it's nice and warm, we close off this one completely. That is when you're burning wood, which we always encourage. So this is to be open fully, this is to be open fully until the fire's established, and then you close this one off anti-clockwise. For now, we'll leave it going, and now as soon as you can feel a little bit of heat coming through the glass, which I can now, I'm going to close the door fully. If the fire at this point just goes and goes down a little bit, which can vary depending on wind conditions and weather, and if it's foggy outside, they can sometimes get a little bit take a little bit longer to get going. But in this case here, it's going really well. So as you can see here, the flames at the top of the fire, they're going to start warming up the flue here, which is causing that draw. And then once the fire burns down into the bottom of the stove, then you can just carry on putting the wood in it. Once the fire's nice and hot, close this one down completely, the one on the right, and we control the air with the one on the left, which is our main control. The key thing to bear in mind is, and I'm just going to show you now, if we close both air controls down right now, off and off, you'll pretty much put the fire out and you'll cause a lot of smoke build up, which obviously is going into the atmosphere, which is not good. You can see the glass is starting to smoke up now, and it'll actually start to put the fire out. So I'm going to put that back up now, and then that'll clear that and it will burn nicely. There we go, look at that. There we go, there's a clock. Just to take you through it here, when you open the door to reload the stove, really important tip, open the door, let the fire catch up, you see it rush now, and then you open the stove up. The ash pan down here, keep it emptied, but not overly, just keep a bit of ash in it. Try and keep some ash in the bottom of the grate here to keep it burning. Ash is always good to burn a fire on top of, so always try and generate a little bed of ash, but not too much so it flows over. Try not to put your wood across the little holes at the back of the stove. Those little holes there are bringing air through the back of the stove, and they're combusting the smoke before it enters the flue. So they're really useful. So try not to block them, and try not to put your wood across the top of those. The glass stays pretty clean on the clock, but as you can see, it sometimes goes a little bit dirty at the bottom here. Damp cloth, dab it in the ash or wipe it on the glass and dry it off. That's all you need. So just to confirm, that's a damp microfiber cloth. Dab it in the ash in the stove, wipe it on the glass when the stove's cold, and then dry it off with a clean cloth, and it should be absolutely perfect. I like everything, keep on top of it. And there we are. One little tip that's specific to the clock is when you open the door handle, make sure that you don't go over one revolution. This is on a thread. So as you undo this, you won't be able to close the door, so you need to make sure that that's nice and tight, but not too tight. And there we are.